Hey guys, what's up? Rachel here. So I'm going to try and do a June and July thus far update. So yeah, where do I want to begin? I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that June was going to be crazy with the end of the school year and my daughter's dance recital and her older stepsister graduating high school and people coming into town and just, oh my God, like, I wish I could say I was excited about it all, but I wasn't. And I'm so glad that that is, for the most part, in the past. Yeah, aside from the stress, the dance recital, yeah, you can see their efforts really shine on stage, and it's always a good time. Like, you're always stressed to get there and have their hair, right. Once everything was all in place, you just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So what have I been up to? A lot of cleaning around the house. A lot of cleaning, yeah. A lot of cleaning, and why don't we start with some decks? I know I've shown this before. I'm still using my the Robledo Dodal. I just love how this feels in the hands. Yeah, I'm not as focused on Marseille as I was, as the Thoth system was sort of vying for my attention. But yeah, and I'm still using this quite often. It's just fun with their, their cranky faces, and I love, yeah, I love this production. And I love how these cards feel. I can't really describe them. I don't have another deck that feels like this. When I first got this, they felt like thinner than I expected them to be, but they're actually quite durable. I don't know. I'm not going to bring out any of my Thoth decks. I did end up buying another one, but it was just like your standard US Games the deluxe size from a shop in Salem, because I've never actually gotten around to trimming a Thoth deck, and I've always wanted to. So I thought that my next one I would buy in person, because I prefer to do that when I can, as most of my things are bought online. So I bought one in Salem so that I would have like a special memory tied to the deck. And I brought it to the beach with me the day that I got it, and I, did a little reading, and then I took the cards and just like lightly buried them in the sand. I'm not going to go into why, just what I did. We'll just show this now. I got the Vendenbor by Pablo Robledo, and oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Beautiful deck. So I'll just show a few cards. I love the borders and the colors. I'm not using this as much here mid-July, or maybe we're past what is the date? I've had a really busy week. Work has been stressful, and like I said, we've been cleaning a lot, and we have company coming in a couple of days, and one of our visitors is a toddler, a little boy, my nephew, and it's exciting, but we're also thinking about, okay, what should we move around? Like, what should we keep out of arm's reach, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm showing you this beautiful deck, and I'm talking about toddlers. I don't know, but yeah, there's Bacchus. Beautiful. And my daughter just finished band camp. So this fits in with June as well. She started band camp late June, and it was something that I wanted her to do. And of course, like any kid, she's like, I don't want to do it. I just want to relax this summer. And the more I thought about it, I decided, like, I think I should just make her do this. I sometimes worry that I'm too strict as a mom. If I compare myself to not everyone, but many mothers, I am, yeah, I'm a little bit more on the strict side, especially when it comes to screen time. Sometimes days will go by where she's not in front of a screen. And I'm not going to get into that, okay? I'm not judging anybody. I totally get it. But my daughter has innate talents and interests that I just don't want her to lose. You know, I can only imagine how difficult that is, being a kid and having those distractions and instant gratification surrounding you. So I thought this summer, I'm going to sign her up for band camp. And I told her, you know, if you do this, I will reward you. This is based on my own experience. When I was a kid, my parents wanted me to take piano lessons. I wouldn't do it. I played piano every day. I composed my own music. I knew kids who had taken lessons for years, and they heard me play, and they were like, who's your teacher? I'm like, nobody. They were sort of angry with me. They didn't believe me. And my parents were like, we've got to get this kid some lessons. And I wouldn't do it. I was too afraid. And I also, another thing that I regret was when I was my daughter's age, I told my parents that I didn't want to be in dance anymore, because my dance classes were always on Friday evenings, and it conflicted with the school dances. I wanted to be social. I wanted to see the boy that I had a crush on and show off my dance moves, you know, on the gymnasium floor. And my parents listened to me, and I understand that, but oh, do I regret it? I wish I'd stayed and danced a few more years, you know. I was good. And my daughter, like I've mentioned already, she's in dance. So I just think it's good for her to have the structure, but I'm rambling a bit too much. Long story short, she loves band camp, loves it. It's all she talks about. And then she comes home from camp, she plays clarinet in school band. My boyfriend is primarily a saxophone player, but he plays all of the reeds, so he gives her tips on the clarinet. And now she wants to expand, you know, her horizons, and she wants to play the flute and try the saxophone. And she comes home from camp and she goes right to the piano and she practices, and I don't even have to tell her to do it anymore. It's just been awesome. She told me that aside from the band camp, which the lessons are in, you know, within the school hours every day, she wants to join the jazz band, which is an after school program, as long as it doesn't conflict with dance. So we were driving home from the beach just a couple of days ago, and the whole ride home, she was talking about just, I don't know, just different instruments and music, and asking my boyfriend all these different questions about reeds. It's just been so great. So anyway, I feel a little bit better about the decisions that I make as a parent. So what else has been up? I just don't really remember what we did in June. I will talk a bit about some of the books, I guess, that I finished. Reading has been slow. My reading progress has been a bit slow because there's been so much activity. But I mentioned this, I think, in my last wrap up, that I was reading the Book of Merlin. So for any of you who told me that you were reading this, The Once and Future King, based on my recommendation. Is this necessary? Like, do you have to read this after reading Once and Future King? No. Like, I did, but you don't necessarily have to read this. I remembered years ago reading reviews that this was unnecessary and far too depressing, and I think I'm reiterating something I already said in my previous video, but no, it didn't seem that depressing to me as people were claiming. It reads like a bit of a manifesto by T.H. White. He displays for you a dichotomy of social orderings using the animal world and their social orderings as examples, okay? So, but it's brilliant, but you don't necessarily have to read this to get this. This does have a conclusion, okay? So this is Arthur, you know, at the end of his reign. He's an old man, and he's very sad because, as I've said, it's not easy being king. I have all of these markers in here. Let's see if I can give you, like, sort of an example of what you would be reading here. He says, "Neither force, nor argument, nor opinion," said Merlin with the deepest sincerity, "are thinking. Argument is only a display of mental force, a sort of fencing with points in order to gain a victory, not for truth. Opinions are the blind alleys of lazy or of stupid men who are unable to think. If ever a true politician really thinks a subject out dispassionately, even Homo stultus, I don't know how to pronounce that, will be compelled to accept his findings in the end. Opinion can never stand beside truth. At present, however, Homo impoliticus is content either to argue with opinions or to fight with his fists, instead of waiting for the truth in his head. It will take 1,000,000 years before the mass of men can be called political animals." So it's brilliant, but it's not necessarily necessary. I don't know why I said not necessarily necessary. But anyway, I've had such a wonderful time rereading this, and then this was a first for me. I hadn't read this years ago. I finished Dracula, and I suppose I would give it 4 stars, because I never say this. It's one of my biggest pet peeves when, you know, maybe I recommend a book or a movie and my feedback is that, well, it could have been shorter. I don't necessarily get that sort of feedback a lot from my personal friends, but I read a lot about that in reviews. But I do feel like this could have been a little shorter. Because, okay, so the conflict in the book, it was executed superbly. But there are these long passages describing the how of things, like how this group of men and women were going to go about conquering the monster, Dracula, or as I've been calling him, Dracula. I thought the passages describing some of Dracula's victims, the way that the transformation process was beautiful and super creepy. And this has also been said about the book. The relationships between the characters was beautiful, you know? Like, everyone loved each other so much. Like, the friendships between men, between women, between men and women. It's beautiful. And after finishing it, I missed this. Like, I missed reading this. It was like a cozy blanket. And my daughter and I, we also very recently completed that Dracula puzzle that I was telling you about. I'm sure I'll insert a photo for you to see at this point. I also finished reading this Reader's Guide to Dylan Thomas. This took me a very long time to read. I put this on hold for quite a while. I was like halfway through it, and I just didn't read this for days and days and days and weeks. And I finally finished this up. And, you know, I think I've already talked about how I felt about it, and it hasn't really changed. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. and I'm still reading the Dylan Thomas poetry. I'm just always sort of reading it. It's just a lot of, you know, cradle and grave, tomb, womb, which this guy talks about a lot. You know, so much of his poetry, it just really resonates for me. I love that a lot of the poetry, when you wrap your head around the fact that it's foreknowledge, like it's actually like a fetus in the womb with all of this knowledge of the universe that you lose as you get older. That's what a lot of it is. So yeah, I can't remember what else I finished reading, or if I did finish reading anything else. I'm not sure. Currently, I am reading this little book on Isis. This has been fun. And my daughter and I are reading this together. Oop, I just hit my elbow on the desk. So this has been fun. We're reading this together. I'll read a chapter and she'll read a chapter. And it was so funny. The other day, she loves family trees. She showed me this the other day. She was studying this Egyptian god family tree. And she was like, Mom, Osiris cheated on Isis with Nephthys. Like, and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. So anyway, that's been fun. I'm still reading this, and I wasn't sure what I thought at first. Just completely different. Like, it's not how I read. But you know what? I enjoy that. Like, what, do I want every single book on how to read cards? Do I want it all to be the same? No. Yeah. This has been fun. And it's, you know, it's tricky for me because I don't read for other people, but it makes me want to do that. It kind of makes me want to read for other people. I'm finally reading Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell, and I don't think that I really need to say anything about it, because I'm afraid I'm talking too much. And recently I started this that I mentioned, I think, in my last wrap-up video. And right off the bat, it's like, wow, this is, I wasn't expecting this, but this is so in sync with everything that I've been exploring and thinking about lately. I cannot believe it. What's uncanny about that is how I mentioned, if you saw my video, I think it was my May wrap-up, I mentioned how I was listening to The Doors one day in the car, like at this, you know, ride into work. And I was struck with this idea that maybe I should read a book on Jim Morrison. And that very same day, I went to a thrift store and I went to the book section like I always do. And the very first book I saw was this. And I was like, okay, I suppose maybe it's a sign that I should read this. And I'm so glad that I am. It's totally in sync with where I am right now. All right, so let's talk about some decks again. All right, guys. So I went ahead and finally, I don't know, I've just been winging it with trusting my gut. Something made me finally, I was compelled to get the Ritual Tarot. And oh my God, I don't know. I decided that this was something that I wanted to try after all. I told myself, if it doesn't resonate with me, I'm sure I can sell it easily. The Lust card was what really, really won me over. I love that there's this Lust card in here. So, I've just been getting so many intuitive hits on this. I can't describe it. It just brings me back to a sense of like this sort of intrinsic sort of sense of myself. Like breaking it down to my intrinsic self, and it sort of washes away a lot of noise, a lot of influence, that I've really suffered from over the years. This makes me think of my favorite place on earth, and that is a state park that I grew up near. There was this state park in Western New York called Letchworth, and if you don't know it, I'm sure I'm going to be inserting some photos. It's called the Grand Canyon of the East, and this deck makes me feel like I'm in Letchworth, and I am daydreaming that I'm in another continent in the jungle or something, you know? Certain cards especially make me think of that, make me think of my my dreamlike perception of the world, or what I thought maybe my future would be like, or what the past was like. Like, this card especially makes me think of Letchworth, especially on a summer day in the park after it's rained, or during a summer shower. And then the other deck that I've been using in June and also this month, which also makes me think of Letchworth. Not only Letchworth, but being even younger and at summer camp at Silver Lake, which is also basically right around the corner from the state park. The Tarot Droga. I just needed to have this deck. This brings to mind for me like chalk drawings after it's rained, you know, like wet chalk. I can smell this deck. It smells like wet stone. You know, like being near the waterfalls in Western New York. This, for me, like, I really can smell this deck. I can't describe it, but it makes me think of, yeah, my perception when I was a kid. So in that sense, this is like reality, and this was sort of my how I wanted things to be. But, you know, as I get older, I realize, oh, you know, I was sort of blind to fantasy, because there I was in this beautiful place, probably one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my personal opinion. And yet I was dreaming about being in another continent, you know, or another time. So these two decks, Ritual Tarot and Tarot Droga, I've been having, you know, a time with. I've been having some adventures with, and remembering who I was and, you know, what I wanted. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be inserting some photos of Letchworth, but for example, long time ago, over a decade ago, well over a decade ago, when I found out that, yeah, I was going through this really rough time. Basically, I found out that, like, I was betrayed by two people that I thought I loved very much. I just wanted to be alone, and I remembered I'd close my eyes and I'd think, what do I need? Like, what do I need? What's going to comfort me? And all I wanted was to be in Letchworth, in a cabin by myself. I just wanted to be there, and I couldn't be there. I was here in New England, and I didn't have the independence or the means to just get on a plane and go there and be there. But that's where I wanted to be, was Letchworth. And, you know, I visited like a couple of years ago, and I was like a little kid. I was like a little kid running around and hiking up trails, and my family couldn't keep up with me. So much fun. So I've been thinking a lot about Letchworth lately, and I wasn't able to visit home this summer because there was too much going on. But maybe next summer we can do that. And I'm definitely going to go to Letchworth. It's going to be a priority. I'm going to go there again like I did last time. So let's see, what else was I using? The Somnia Tarot. Oh my gosh, this deck. So beautiful. The way that I feel about this is quite personal. Quite personal. But this is a deck too, which is, okay, this also, I wasn't expecting this from this deck. I wasn't expecting it. This very much brings to mind for me the fishing trips that I used to go on with my brothers, my family, when I lived back home in Buffalo area, Western New York. It just looks so much like the lakes there. And I don't know. This deck, I'm not going to explain it, but I'm not afraid to use it, but right now isn't the time. But oh, it's beautiful. Oh, I need to talk about synchronicity. How did I forget about that? Do you guys remember me talking about David Bowie and the crazy synchronicities that were going on with David Bowie? I really do not want to rehash all of that because this video is long enough as it is. But I was noticing David Bowie everywhere, okay? And so I was listening to more of his music, and a few weeks ago, we were in Salem, and every shop that we entered, I swear, maybe not every shop, but the majority, we would come in just as a David Bowie song would be playing on the radio. And then the song would end and it would, you know, skip to a different artist. And we went to dinner that day at a restaurant to celebrate my boyfriend's birthday. David Bowie was playing. I picked up a deck in a shop and I wasn't expecting to see David Bowie, but there he was. That's not so unusual because he's, you know, he's everywhere. You know, he's sort of ubiquitous. David Bowie's really popular, but I could not ignore that he was really everywhere in my life. So this is funny. It culminated in an event and I'm not sure, like, I don't know what it means. I was getting ready one morning. We were going to go to Salem and I was putting my makeup on in the bathroom. And because we were going to Salem, I was struck with a memory. One of my dear friends, he came to visit me here in New England. One of the things that we did was we went to Salem. And we were there for some beer fest. And there were all sorts of street vendors that night. And my friend grabbed some sausage from a vendor. And he enjoyed the sausage so much that he talked about that for even, I don't know, years later. He would say, like, I remember that sausage in the streets, you know, in Salem, it was so good. I crave that sometimes. So I found myself, as I was putting my makeup on, you know, recently, I started singing to myself, sausage in the streets. Because of the silly cover that he did with Mick Jagger, you know, Dancing in the Streets, because there was David Bowie again, you know, Dancing in the Streets turned into Sausage in the Streets. So we get to Salem, park the car, and we're walking down the same stretch we always journey down after we've gotten there. And for the first time, I noticed this little tiny alley I'd never noticed before between two of the storefronts. And there was this iron fence, like, gating off the alley so that you couldn't go down it. And I don't know why I looked up, but I looked up and it was not within arm's reach. It was pretty up there. On one of the spikes on the top of the iron fence, someone had stuck a sausage there. And my daughter and I were screaming and laughing and we're like, what the heck? Maybe I'll insert a photo if I remember to. And then we ran away from it, like, you know, yelling, oh my gosh, it's a curse. Like, what is this? You know, and then it dawned on me afterwards. I was like, oh my God, sausage in the streets. Sausage in the streets. Like, what the heck? I was just singing sausage in the streets, you know, before we got there. But it's also another David Bowie synchronicity. Like, what the heck is going on here? Okay, at this point, you're probably like, this girl is really strange. What is she talking about? But I hope you're following that, and I hope that you're appreciating that. And what does it mean? I don't know. I really don't know. But you know what? We were there again afterwards, and the sausage was still there, and it was so gross. It was so gross. Okay. So yeah, what else? What else have we been doing? We've been home most of the time. It's been so hot. It's been so hot. We haven't wanted to leave the house. I haven't been feeling well. The heat is making me cranky and just, I don't know, I feel like a slug. I know I don't really need to be too long-winded about that, but when we do leave the house, it's for a small errand, or like a couple days ago, we went to Salem again. Like, it's nearby. It's just an easy place to get to. And it's so versatile. I got this little pig there, and he's so cute. And also, let's see, what's this? I got this like a few weeks ago, maybe back in June, from the little Tibetan shop. And I got another one of these little Tibetan skull bracelets. I got the one JJ Swiss. So I have a beautiful vintage version from like 1978 or something from a friend. But I'm reluctant to use it because it's in such great condition. So this deck I can beat up if I want. I got this just a couple of days ago. And I also finally picked up the Isis Oracle based on recommendation. So I thought, why not? I don't do oracles very often. I don't know, because I don't remember to use them. I have some. I do have some. But I thought I'll just go with my gut and get the deck. Like I said, I'm reading a little book on Isis, and it's been kind of fun. So I haven't been buying a lot, and I'm very proud of that. But another thing that I got, which I pre-ordered ages ago, was the Zammer Twins Oracle. It finally arrived, and I'll show you a few cards. And it's another Oracle deck. Wasn't I just saying that I don't really do oracles? These are some bonus cards. This was the original, idea for the medium for the deck, and then he decided that it looked too much like something else that he's going to be putting out there. So, oh my god. I love Patrick Valenza. So, oh, it's charming. Charmingly gruesome. What else? What else did I need to talk about? Yeah, we were in Salem the other day. One of my boyfriend's friends had this little gig at the Willows. It's this beautiful little park on the water. The trees are just amazing. I'm sure I'll insert some photos. And we watched this little, re-listened to this little orchestra play some Holst and some other things. And the whole way home, I think I already mentioned this, my daughter was, talking about the different instruments, like the brass instruments and the reeds, and what she could really hear and what she couldn't hear, and what she thought came through really strong, all her opinions on it. And my boyfriend was like, wow, like I didn't expect her to have that reception to this little gig. And I'm like, those are her people now. She's in band. She's been in band all year. Those are her people now. And he's like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that like that. What else am I forgetting to show you? I got this incense recently at a little shop in Salem. It's quite nice. I'd been curious about this brand for a while, and they happen to have it. I got this gorgeous ammonite fossil a few weeks ago. I'm just so enamored with it. I just thought, what a treasure. I don't know. So beautiful. I see these all the time, but this one really spoke to me. I'm really particular now when I'm going to buy something like a crystal or a rock. Like, it has to really, really, I don't like to buy them impulsively. This one here, like, I got this one a couple of weeks ago. This skull at this new shop in, not this new shop, but it's new to me, to us, in Pickering Wharf. Oh my gosh, it's just, I wanted another skull, and I'm really, really particular about the skulls. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but they have to really speak to me, and this one really did. It's like, we're going to be friends. And I've just been so attached to this. This sits on my bedside at night, and I just kind of hold him while I read. And I should probably give it a name, but I haven't done that. What am I forgetting to talk about? I just wanted to give you a quick little update. I'm going to be very busy again, and I wanted to say hi, and I kind of wanted to hang out, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I guess that's it, guys. Okay, bye-bye.